haven't done enough consuming. I have all this money. I have all this free money. I'm a millionaire. I want to burn it. I want to burn my money. Please show me ads.
And now you've lost your way. You've completely lost it, Microsoft. Where are you going? Where are you going? It's like seeing somebody wander off into the fucking forest.
Did you notice something weird lately? Costco, Target, and even Walmart. They're just quietly removing Xbox consoles from their shelves. Like, no announcement, no statement, no while supplies last. They're just gone. So, what's happening here? Did Xbox really fall this far? Or is there something much bigger going on behind the scenes? Costco has officially confirmed it. They no longer sell Xbox consoles, online or in stores. They called it a business decision. Translation, the demand wasn't worth the shelf space anymore. That's huge, because when a retail giant like Costco stops carrying your product, it's not a small thing. It's a signal. Now Target and Walmart. This part's not officially confirmed, but reports are flooding in. Employees saying the Xbox sections are being cleared, physical games on clearance, entire display areas being reset to make room for PlayStation and Nintendo. So yeah, the writing's kinda on the wall. And the timing of all this? It's brutal. Xbox hardware sales are down nearly 70% compared to last year. Game Pass prices just spiked by 50%. And remember, this is all while PlayStation and Nintendo are selling out constantly. So if you're a retailer, what do? You go with what moves. Shelf space isn't sentimental, it's survival. Now, Microsoft, of course, came out swinging after the backlash. They said they're actively investing in future consoles and working with AMD on next-gen hardware. And sure, that sounds great on paper, but think about it. If your current generation is already disappearing from stores, how much faith do people have left in what's next? Think about it. Since the $70 billion Activision Blizzard acquisition, everything has shifted. Game Pass, once sold as the Netflix of gaming, has doubled in price in under 2 years. Xbox hardware prices are creeping toward $800 for the 2TB model. And somehow, they still have the nerve to tell us they're investing in the future of consoles.
At one point in time, Phil did his best to recover from the Xbox One fiasco. What has he done for us recently?
Every decision you've made led us from bad to worse.
But let's switch gears for a second and talk about Costco, as they just revealed they're removing Xbox consoles from their shelves in the US and UK and on their online stores. Their reasoning?
It's just good business.
Please. If they were really invested in hardware, would Costco, Target, and Walmart be phasing it out? Would physical games be disappearing from shelves? No chance. This isn't a hardware company anymore. It's a subscription company. They don't care if you buy an Xbox. They just want you trapped in the ecosystem, pay monthly, stream their games, and never actually own anything. And the worst part? They lied about this. During the Activision Blizzard deal, Microsoft promised regulators they wouldn't raise Game Pass prices. Fast forward 2 years, and Game Pass Ultimate has jumped 50%. Features are stripped, discounts are gone, and perks that used to be part of the package now cost extra.
Xbox cannot compete with Sony or Nintendo's first-party exclusives. They can't seem to develop their own. They can't create an affordable handheld alternative to compete with the Steam Deck or Switch. They're being undercut by both subscription platforms. They can't sell games, they can't sell consoles, and now they can't sell subscriptions. We can't sell nothing.
Our time has passed. Yeah.
Oh God, please let it end. That's gotta be the end. Xbox hardware may not happen despite their announcements. More retail stores will pull Xbox from sale. Microsoft is becoming a third-party publisher. All these rumors come from Insider Sneakers SO. That's great. That's great. Yeah.
Here are the biggest gaming leaks and news you've probably missed this week. All right, so we just got another surprise drop from Sony, and this one's got collectors already on alert. The PlayStation DualSense Icon Blue Special Edition is officially dropping October 20th, but here's the twist. It's exclusive to Walmart in the US, Canada, Mexico, and Chile. That's right, no PlayStation Direct, no Amazon, no Best Buy, just Walmart. And that alone makes this release kinda interesting. It's the first time in a long while Sony's locked a controller behind a single retailer controller. Price-wise, it's sitting at $85, which is about what you'd expect for a special edition. Now, design-wise, it's honestly gorgeous. Sony says it was inspired by that signature blue glow when you boot up your PS5. You know, that moment every PlayStation fan recognizes instantly. The whole controller has these layered shades of blue with a glossy PlayStation symbol pattern across the touchpad. And if you flip it over, you'll see katakana characters spelling out Purei Sutashan, basically PlayStation in Japanese. It's a nice little nod to the brand's roots. But let's talk business. Is this worth flipping? Well, historically, limited DualSense controllers have done pretty well in the resale market. Think of the Helldivers 2, Astrobot, and Ghost of Yoti editions. They sold out fast and resold for solid margins. But there's a catch here. Because this is a Walmart exclusive, the supply might either be super limited or Sony might flood the shelves to meet demand. It could go either way. That's where things get tricky. If production is low, this thing's going to disappear in minutes. But if Sony mass produces it like the God of War controller, expect plenty of stock and maybe even discounts later on. Now, here's the smart play. Watch how pre-orders go. Sony hasn't announced any yet, which means Walmart might do a straight drop on launch day. First come, first serve. If that happens, bots and scalpers are gonna go nuts. But here's the silver lining. Walmart's standard return policy applies. You've got 30 days to return it if resale prices don't spike, so the risk is pretty low if you're buying just to test the market. Collectors might want it simply because of how unique it looks. That PlayStation blue glow aesthetic really pops, but the real demand will come down to rarity. If it's limited and sells out fast, expect it to flip for double or even triple MSRP. If it sits on shelves for hours, probably not worth more than retail. So, word on the street is that The Last of Us Part 3 could be the studio's next big project after their upcoming new IP. Yeah, that's right. Naughty Dog might be gearing up to return to one of the most iconic series in modern gaming once they wrap up their mysterious new title. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Raf Grassetti, the insanely talented art director who worked on God of War 2018 and Ragnarok, just joined Naughty Dog. And when he announced it, he said he's beginning a new chapter. That one phrase, new chapter, has fans connecting dots like detectives. Because think about it, Naughty Dog's new IP is reportedly already deep in production, meaning pre-production on whatever comes next would be starting right about now. So Raf joining at this exact moment, that lines up perfectly with early development for what's likely The Last of Us Part 3. Plus, it makes perfect sense from a timing standpoint. HBO's The Last of Us. Season 2 is dropping in 2025, and a potential Season 3 would probably hit around 2027. You know what else fits that timeline? A late 2027 or 2028 game release. It all lines up almost too perfectly. And honestly, who better than Raf Grassetti to help evolve the visual direction of the next Last of Us? His work on the God of War reboot set the bar for cinematic realism and character expression. Bringing that same energy to Ellie's next chapter, that's a dream combo. Now, Naughty Dog hasn't said a word officially, typical them, but everything about this feels like setup for the next evolution of the series. They're probably letting the new IP lead the charge first, test new gameplay tech, refine animation systems, maybe even push their next-gen engine to its limits on PS6 hardware. And then, they'll bring all of that tech, all of that experience, right back into the Last of Us universe. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect an announcement anytime soon, but make no mistake, the seeds for Part 3 are being planted right now. And if Raf's involvement is anything to go by, this might end up being the most visually stunning and emotionally brutal Last of Us yet. Question is, where do they even take the story from here? Do we stay with Ellie? Do we see a time jump? Or does Naughty Dog pull a full reset with new characters in the same world? So according to Guerrilla Games themselves, development is officially underway on the next mainline Horizon game. No more guessing, no more maybe. It's happening. They straight up confirmed that the team is already working on Aloy's next chapter, which means pre-production is done and they've moved into full development. Now, here's where the timeline gets interesting. Industry insiders, including Jason Schreier, have hinted that Horizon 3 is aiming for around 2027 and might actually launch as a cross-gen title across PS5 and PS6. Yeah, we're entering that weird transition period again, just like we had with Horizon Forbidden West launching on both PS4 and PS5. And it makes sense. Sony's not going to abandon the PS5 user base overnight, especially especially with over 60 million consoles sold. But at the same time, this could be one of the first big PS6 showcases, built to really flex whatever that new Amethyst architecture can do. Imagine Forbidden West visuals, but with no load screens, full-scale ray tracing, and world detail that just doesn't quit. Story-wise, everything seems to be pointing toward Nemesis, the mysterious AI threat teased at the end of Forbidden West. Guerrilla set that up as the next major antagonist, and it sounds like Horizon 3 is gonna pick up right where that cliffhanger left off, meaning Aloy might finally face the biggest threat humanity's ever seen. But before that happens, we're getting another project, Horizon Online. Jason Schreier reported that this multiplayer-focused game is next in line, dropping before Horizon 3. Think of it as Sony's way of expanding the Horizon universe into a broader platform, kinda like what Monster Hunter did for Capcom. It'll probably tie into the same world, maybe even set up story threads that lead directly into Horizon 3. Honestly, it's the perfect setup. Horizon Online keeps the world alive and active, and then Horizon 3 comes in as the big single-player follow-up, the grand finale of Aloy's saga.
How was your day, honey?
Pretty intense, but I brought something for you.
Where'd you find all these things?
Here and there, you know.
Did you run into Ark?
I did, and I watch out for them, but they're the least of my problems.
All the raiders I've met say the same thing.
All right, picture this. Earth's gone to hell. Machines have taken over the surface. Humanity's been forced underground, and only the boldest, the raiders, dare go topside to scavenge for scraps, tech, and anything that can keep civilization alive a little longer. That's Ark Raiders, a third-person extraction shooter from the same team that made the finals. But this one's different. It's darker, grittier, and way more tactical. You drop into a massive open battlefield full of robotic enemies, scavengers, and other players, all trying to do the same thing as you. Survive long enough to grab the loot and make it out alive. And if you die out there, you lose everything. So why should anyone care? Because this might be the first extraction shooter that actually balances chaos with accessibility. You can go solo and face off against other lone players, or jump in with a tight 3-person squad. Either way, every mission tells a story. A desperate run, a lucky find, or a last-minute escape. Think Escape from Tarkov, but with the cinematic style and polish of a studio that actually knows what it's doing. Embark Studios, the same ex-DICE developers behind Battlefield, have been working on this for years. It started off as a co-op shooter, but they scrapped that idea and rebuilt it into a full PvPvE experience. And it's not free to play anymore. They're charging around $40 because they want to build something solid, not a microtransaction trap. The world itself looks insane, futuristic but grounded. You've got storms rolling in mid-mission, drones patrolling the skies, and that eerie feeling that something's always watching you. It's got that District 9 energy, junkyard tech mixed with desperate human creativity. And now, after years of waiting, it's finally here. October 30th, 2025, launching on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series. Full crossplay, always online. They've already done multiple tech tests, and there's one more open beta, a server slam from October 17th to 19th. And that's the part that makes it exciting. These devs aren't just hyping it up. They're actually testing, balancing, and fine-tuning everything in public.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
All right, so this is a small update, but one that shows Sony's still experimenting with personalization, even if it's not quite what fans have been asking for. Sony just refreshed the Welcome Back widget on PS5 with 2 new animated backgrounds, one for Battlefield 6 and another for NBA 2K26. You can now apply them to your hub screen, giving your console a subtle military or sports vibe, depending on which one fits your mood. Now, these aren't full system themes. They only apply to the Welcome Back screen, but visually, they look pretty solid. The Battlefield 6 one in particular stands out with silhouettes of fighter jets flying across the background. It's got that cinematic, high-action vibe that fits perfectly with the game's tone. Still, let's be real. Fans have been begging Sony to bring back custom themes ever since the PS5 launched. Remember how the PS4 let you change your background, add music, even theme your icons? Yeah, we still don't have that. Sony's reasoning has always been that each game already has its own unique wallpaper on PS5, but that's not the same thing. People want creativity, nostalgia, and that personal touch that made PS4 dashboards feel alive. Sony did test the waters recently with some classic console-inspired UI designs for the PlayStation 30th anniversary, and fans loved it, enough that they actually made those designs permanent. So maybe, just maybe, they're testing the response here again. If this kind of update keeps coming, adding animated backgrounds tied to big releases, it could be a step towards something more customizable for the PS6.
Attention, this is Dr. Marcus. Please be silent as we reflect upon our company motto.
All right, so let's talk about this one because it's shaping up to be a pretty big deal. Resident Evil 0 is getting a full-blown remake for PS5, and it's reportedly one of 2 major Resident Evil remakes currently in production at Capcom. According to insider Dusk Golem, who's been dead on with Resident Evil leaks for years, the project has gone through some pretty major shifts behind the scenes. Apparently, there were big changes in who's actually developing it throughout 2024. The direction got restructured, the team was reshuffled, and the project's scope was massively expanded. Now, IGN even backed up these claims, which gives this leak some serious weight. We're not talking about a simple visual touch-up here. This is being described as a big-budget reimagining of the original Resident Evil 0, not just a modern port. So expect something more in line with the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remakes, rather than the classic fixed camera style of the 2002 GameCube version. If you remember, Resident Evil 0 originally acted as a prequel to the first game, following Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen on that doomed train ride through the Arklay Mountains. It had some cool ideas. The partner switching mechanic was ahead of its time, but it also had that slower pacing and awkward inventory system that made it kind of a cult favorite rather than a mainstream hit. So, if Capcom's truly reimagining it with modern gameplay and cinematic presentation, this could finally give Zero the recognition it always deserved. Now, as for timing, reports suggest it's targeting a 2028 launch, which makes sense given how Capcom spaces out its Resident Evil remakes. RE4 Remake dropped in 2023. RE9 is likely the next big mainline title around 2026, and Zero could slot in right after that. It's also worth noting that this isn't the only remake in development. The other one, while not officially confirmed, is heavily rumored to be Resident Evil 1, which would bring the whole timeline full circle. Imagine RE1 and RE0 rebuilt on RE Engine, running natively on PS5 and PS6 hardware. That's nostalgia and next-gen polish combined.